cats, cops, and C4. You do know that if death is guaranteed for anyone we hand over, we're not going to allow extradition, right? Chief Bowman asked Private Stream, who lets out a giggle. Never play cards with a human. You're going to lose, he answers. That was a bluff? Half and half. Dying of old age won't be allowed. You'll get healing comas for that. But staying young and perky? No, that's just a vanity. Really? Once a clear cure was found, aging was recategorized as an endemic degenerative disease with a guaranteed kill ratio if untreated. So denying treatment is a crime, but it can be opted out of. However, overuse of the treatment for vanity purposes is not for prisoners. Private Stream says. Ah, well there goes my concern. In all honesty, we don't even need that long with someone. A real interrogation, a proper one without scaring anyone or empty threats, those can take years. So no torture? Outside of some pretty extreme and rare cases, it doesn't work. So it's pointless, now scaring someone, slowly building up trust and downplaying the importance of things so that they just slip out, confusing them into letting things out, or in this case, forcing someone else to break the silence, put a false sense of strength into them and then shatter it. She feels like she just lost a big fight with him. So she's surrendering? She's also revealing that she herself has run interrogations of some kind. She's acting the part of the broken subject, even though she could just stop talking and he wouldn't do any more than frown at her. So what does an unseen eye do when she's having a good day? Cenk asks. We're concerned with the advancement and exaltation of the Cloaken as a people. Self-advocacy, a wonderful intention, Miss Hayes, Cenk confirms. I'm not sure how that ties into a massive brawl with a battle robot. A massively and literally well-armed Horshka and an Alfar assassin for a piece of police evidence, though. Mind filling in the blanks? How many groups like mine do you think there are? Keela asks, and Cenk outright chuckles. So many. We have over a dozen teams of men wandering around Centrus at random and being chronically mistaken for couriers and contacts. They leave with empty packs and return with twice their body weight in data chips and secret instructions. Cenk explains, throwing up air quotes on the word secret, and Keela snorts in amusement. Oh, is that why you're bodily throwing people out of the ship? Partially. At first it was a desperate attempt to keep some kind of security, but you should know as well as I do that it quickly became a game. A game where you can get handled by a big strong man and sent flying. A rush of excitement in more than one way, she says with a wink. Fair enough. But we're a bit off topic. How and why did you get involved in this mess? Cenk asks. Again, I have to ask how many groups like mine you think there are? Well, seeing as how conspiracy and secret organization and cults are so endemic that between you and me there are likely 3 to 5 cultists, and I'm not in any cult. I'm going to say moderately common. In fact, I'd say that a larger, more direct and well-organized group like the Unseen Eyes are roughly 3 to 7, averaging 5 per spire level, which, considering the many thousands of spires dotting this world and the 200 levels of each spire, says that there are likely millions of such groups across Centrus. It's good to know that humans are capable of basic math. Thank you. At times, I'm worried myself. He jokes and surprises a snort of amusement out of her. Ah, oh stop, you... She takes a deep breath and gives him an unhappy look. It doesn't matter how friendly you are, this is still an interrogation. Yes, but you're setting the tone. Answer the question, please. Cenk says, it was just a strategic move. The Lanrak, Warlady Klaba, and Miss Big are all running around in a panic. I have eyes on their information, at least a little. So when they all want something big, I see a big chance to pin them to the wall and get a nice sweet bit of, well, I won't be finishing that sentence in front of a man. I see, so you're only moving in response. But tell me, why did your agent attack that drone so clearly? The Lanrak's war machine? It was going to destroy the prize. Of course she would stop it. The target was the prize. If you hadn't fought to keep it, she would have taken it and been done with it. This agent, does she have a name? I will take the blame. Excuse me. My agents move under my will. Therefore, whatever you want to throw at any of my girls, you throw at me instead. Really? How interesting. I doubt Warlady Klaba would do the same. She's a brute whose idea of authority redefines big stick diplomacy, she says, and Cenk chuckles. What's so funny? Translation error? Big stick diplomacy for a human means be diplomatic, but always have a clear, if unspoken, martial threat to back up your words. Kind of like I'm doing now, I prefer talking. But you have no doubt that I can bring the violence in many ways. Oh, she says and just sits on that for a moment. When I say big stick diplomacy, I mean the big stick is the diplomacy, as in it's either a threat or violence. Ah, so her big stick diplomacy is walking in with a log and telling them that if they don't do what she wants, they get the log to the head. Where mine is walking in with the log but making actual diplomatic efforts, and not necessarily even pointing to it, but still having it. Speak softly, but carry a big stick. I can believe it, Keela says. Don't you have files on the Lanrek or Warladi Klaba? I haven't seen any myself, although I'm being told, he taps the earpiece again, that we should focus more on the assassin. Apparently that's what they're really interested in, unless you can name the names behind Miss Big and the Lanrek. Miss Big obsessively keeps her personal details hidden. If she has to choose between the smallest part of exposure or missing out on a prize, she can, will, and has given up the prize without hesitating. The Lanrek I do have the name of, but it's useless. Helia Diggers is an expert drone pilot and hacker. She trades out names and identities like most people do clothing, and is always ready to run and go to ground. I have no doubt she's already changed her name, general appearance, and location. She's already gone. The only reason I know this name at all is an accident on her part. The Lanrek is the name she trades on in the less than legal circles. You're right. That isn't much beyond an MO. It is good to know we can spook Miss Big and the Lanrek by getting close, which can earn a reprieve if they're causing too much trouble. But what about the assassin? Edge, or at least that's the name she trades on. She's one of the main enforcers of the Nox Sisterhood. They're a bunch of nutters. What flavor of nutter? The kind that's religiously devoted, but not to an actual religion. All the faith, zealotry, and focus dedicated to the goals of their inscrutable mistress. Who is? Inscrutable. I've gotten eyes in there before, and it's some spooky stuff. Apparently one of their creeds is to end the Hollow Daughters by wiping out anyone that might call them or cause them to be called. What? Basically, the idea of a ghost story is so scary to them that they murder the innocent and guilty alike. I've heard of the Hollow Daughters, but I'm not sure if I believe in them. The Undaunted have encountered one. They have a strange way of fighting where the more axiom you use, the more power they have over you. You need to attack without using any axiom at all to hit them. You've attacked a Hollow Daughter? Keela demands in a shocked tone. An Undaunted has, but that's not important right now. They're very real and very dangerous. Now, how much more dangerous is someone trying to stop them from showing up? Well, they're an order of assassins and terrorists. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks, Keela says, and he nods. Nothing else? Not really. The Sisterhood of Nox operate in small cells scattered throughout not only Centris, but every world with a big population. If there's 1 billion people on the ground, then you can safely assume at least one cell is in the area. Edge is always the name of the primary field agent. I see. Anything else you'd like to get off your chest? Possibly my shirt. It's rare for a man to see me with so little effort. Not my type, ma'am. Your type? What is your type? Law-abiding, he says, and she sighs. What's the human term? Goody two-shoes? She asks, and he snorts. Something like that, he replies before tilting his head towards the earpiece. It seems that you have satisfied my superiors, so you are considered cooperative. He then stands up. You're going to be brought back to your cell and properly processed in a hurry. However, I must inform you that the numerous illegal items found in possession of an organization you are the admitted leader to are going to have to answer to that. However, that will likely end up as a fee in compensation of the equipment. For undaunted use, I'll wager. Maybe the raw material. Most of what was found are things we don't use, but have parts we do, he says before the door opens. The officers here will see you back to your cell. Thank you for your cooperation. So, how much of that interview do you think was total bullshit? Chief Bowman asks. It's just her, Chunk, and Private Stream in her office. Depends how good of a liar she actually is. If she was making things up all the way through, Then we'll quickly find that out and her word will be mud. And she knows that, so I'll wager the percentage is definitely more than half. But where the line is and where the differences are, Cenk shrugs. No way of knowing. So Miss Big, that's probably a bit of true information, especially if the woman is as honestly evasive as Miss Hayes said. It's a good way to dangle a prize in front of us and distract us from other things. Like what her own organization actually does. If she's actually the head of a cloak and advocacy group, I'll eat a plasma pistol without seasoning, Cenk mutters. But no getting distracted. Cenk, I know you're a field man and not a commanding officer. But I need you to get the Undaunted helping us to look into these unseen eyes all the closer. She was lying, of that there is no doubt. But to what extent is the question? I'll drop it to private stream, that will take it directly to intelligence, and they're just not able to resist such a thing. If you start lobbing formal requests for information from them to Admiral Cistern, you should be able to more or less force them to answer you. The Admiral is many things, but unreasonable is not one of them. Cenk advises snubbing and also drawing attention to the undercover agent at the same time. You don't have to go that far. We're going to share anyways, Private Stream complains. Better make absolutely sure your requests go through the Admiral, Chunk says, and the seemingly prepubescent boy pouts. Still, that also calls into question some of the other information, of course. The Nox Sisterhood does sound like something that would exist, but, I don't think it would be relevant, except maybe on worlds where the Hollow have shown up. Their method of murder and the fact they also kill their summoners are both fairly horrific. Cults have started for less, Chief Bowman says. People have started cults here on Centris due to errant rain clouds. Cenk states and Private Stream snorts. If you ask me, she's got some talent for this, but not a lot of experience. You need to get things closer to the truth, or just straight up true, but leaning in the ways you like. She's probably guessed the bluff that Cenk made, but isn't completely sure, so she's playing it safe. So that lack of experience could mean that she's actually new at all of this, or just new at being caught. I can tell you for a fact that the unseen eyes are not on our records. It could be new, but is it new on a Centris timescale? A human timescale, or just for her in question? This could be a new leader's bungling, Chief Bowman says, and Cenk nods. How often does an interrogation bring about far more questions than it answers? Cenk asks. About 2/3 of the time. If these messes were easy to clean, I wouldn't need a small army, Chief Bowman states,